You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm and Jupiter. A world-class experience. Visit BremenBMW.com. And by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to WellingtonAntiAging.com. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Kevin's Other Show. Got Diener up in here with me today.
Yo.
And Leo is back once again. Talk about them there Yankees. Oh, yeah.
We've had a
Everything
good
in between, man.
Leo in a good mood, and now Leo might be in a bad mood.
But what did I say last week?
Yeah.
Yankees pessimism,
I'm
yeah.
like, I could have predicted this.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You kind of did. I'll give you that.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like for Marlins fans today, I feel like taking a victory lap. And I don't know if this is going to happen the entire rest of the season, so I'm going to take it.
Do what you do when you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
I got to jump right out at it. I got to tell you, honestly, when we were in here on Friday and we were talking about the Marlins after their opening day, you bring out the guy who's supposed to be your ace, Urania, and it was just a bad day. He just looked awful. He got shelled, and everything was just awful, awful, awful. Felt down the dumps. And the Yankees are coming up with Giancarlo, had 2 home runs, a double. I mean, just smashing it. You're like going, okay, this is setting the tone for the entire season. It's what we expect. The worst of the worst for the Marlins. And then the Yankees just being this juggernaut that no one can take out. And then we come off of the weekend and seeing what we saw. And I got to tell you, I feel flipped with the expectations and everything that happened. It's a 500 start for the Marlins. I couldn't be happier. I thought it was amazing.
Here's what's crazy is, I believe in momentum for baseball during the game.
Yeah.
What I know doesn't exist is momentum in baseball game to game, because you can see a team have a dramatic walk-off win and the next night come out and get beat 12-0.
Sure.
And it works the other way. A team could have a heartbreaking defeat and come back the next night and play like all-stars. So the day-to-day momentum does not exist in baseball.
Yeah. It was surprising for me because just going one night after, the Friday night game that happened for the Marlins, it was just I don't know, and you might be right that this doesn't carry over, and don't get like too big on this, because this momentum is just it is what it was. You got what you got. But I mean, Friday night was just a really cool story. If you don't know everything that went behind it, I love the story in sports. To me, that's everything.
Sure.
And if you followed everything that happened on Friday night's game, it starts off, and they're dedicating the game to the students at Stoneman Douglas High School. And they've got students that are out there throwing out the first pitch to start it. They do a 17-second moment of silence to honor the victims before the game. And then you start the game, which goes on and on and on. And the Cubs, arguably one of the best offenses, would you not say, in all of baseball?
Yes.
You go 17 innings, and you've got exactly 17 innings, 17 victims at Stoneman Douglas. The game was won on the 17th single of the game. And you're just like, there was so much magic, so much everything that was in that. And keeping the Cubs offense, I mean, not even just the game on Friday, but, I mean, a shutout yesterday. And you're like, okay, all right, this pitching staff that we were like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden. And, I wonder how Rizzo must have felt. I hope someone brought that to his attention, what you just said, because that's so cool. When you had all those kids there.
He tweeted out, and, even on the loss, the first baseman for the Cubs, I'm sure everybody knows, was at Stoneman Douglas for high school. And he tweeted out the next day, 17 innings, coincidence? I think not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many other similarities there were of the number 17 that kept popping up in that game, I'm not sure if he was aware of all those other ones, but, it just – so you had a magical night on Friday. And not to mention, too, Lewis Brinson, who, if you're a Marlins fan and you're looking for the small little things that we can hang our hat on, and he is going to, I hope, be the bright spot for the Marlins, that you look and say, watch this guy. He had 4 hits Friday night. He was 4 for 4 at one point.
You know what's so crazy about baseball is take any team and, say you go, he's the 9th hitter. He's the worst hitter on our team. Understand, when it comes to Major League Baseball, that worst hitter on your team is his hometown's best athlete they've ever had.
Yeah, you're right.
It's true.
I mean, that's how hard it is to get into the major leagues and play on that level. You got to go through so many different levels to get there and even be there on a consistent basis. So these guys are gifted, and I'm telling you, they all have the ability. Every single player in the bigs has the ability to do big things.
Yeah.
They all do. So.
And yesterday, I watched the entire game, thought I was going to go, didn't, sat it and watched it from home, which a lot of times you don't. If you watch a game live, you really don't understand what happened in the game. Like, honestly, watching a game is a lot better. I'm glad I did, because I was like, Dylan Peters yesterday for the Marlins was throwing some nasty junk. And I'm like, is it just me? It looked hard to hit. He wound up 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 walk, 2 Ks, but I mean, pretty monstrous game for a guy that you're like, who is Dylan Peters?
Right.
It's a good stat line, man. I mean, and now I kind of feel bad because that's somebody we were making fun of last week when the Marlins came out with their starting rotation.
Who's Dylan Peters?
Right.
Yeah.
And, well, he showed us who he was. So
That's right.
hopefully he can continue some of this throughout the season, man. These guys, they're coming out of nowhere.
They don't come out of nowhere, though. They've been doing this their whole
true.
lives.
Yeah.
These guys are
We just don't know who they
athletes,
are.
Right.
Yeah. And there's just, to me, now today, I want to shine a light on everything positive for Marlins fans. You feel good about it. And there's another thing, too, that they righted the ship on. Remember last week I was telling you about why they were closing the roof so much last year. I think they had the roof open for every game.
Wow. So
And
they reversed the trend a little bit.
Well, they did 6. They had the roof open only for 6 games last year. And I was always like, why do they always close it? It's just a different, not as great of a feel. Just even watching it on TV, the game looks a lot better with the roof open.
Right.
I mean, it just makes more sense. It's just a more watchable game. It just got a better vibe to it. And hey, I mean, taking 2 games from the Cubs and doing that, yeah,
Huge.
that was their first wins in 2 years with the roof open. So
That's great.
they've just totally, undid that whole thing. I think the interesting thing is going to see is like just a fan experience. And Jeter is not messing around. Just kind of like one of the under things that I saw on Twitter over the weekend. They weren't real happy after opening day. Jeter he sent out a memo to the entire Marlins staff, and he said, we need to improve customer service. He said, I saw that around the ballpark, wasn't good. Wait times at concession stands was bad. Game entertainment, not good. They fired their vice president of sales right after opening day.
Whoa.
I mean, listen, this guy played his entire career, and let's take away the fact that the Yankees have 27 championships. Let's take away that fact.
Yeah.
He played in the biggest city, the biggest team in the country his entire career. The Yankees do things right, not just on the field.
Right.
The experience
Yeah.
when you go to the Bronx, it's pretty good.
Sure.
And to everything he's talking about, all those things are pretty decent when you go into Yankee Stadium. It's not a really big wait time in the concessions. There's always somebody. There's ushers on every. There's so many people there to go up to and ask questions. Like, it is a constant interaction there. So I'm sure he's like trying to bring some of that and say, look, man, we need to just be better and make it a better experience for people in the ballpark.
Yeah, if people have a good time,
Yeah.
I mean, you ultimately want to see your team win.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if it's just fun and it's cool and it's affordable and they did an Easter egg hunt yesterday and they got like a craft beer night coming up, it's like, okay, if we maybe did some of these things, it seems like Jeter is aware, saying, look, we don't have the payroll, but, maybe we can still make it a good fan experience. And
That's it.
He's all about making the money. That's where his bonus is.
Of
So,
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of puts everybody else on edge, right? I mean, the first game and they fire the VP of sales.
Well, and this is also the VP who handled the Marlin Man's ticket negotiations. I don't know if that was a positive or a negative. So many people, and thankfully so, there's a lot of backlash on Marlins, man. Like,
Good.
people are like, good riddance.
Yeah.
Deserves it.
Screw that guy. I mean, he was trying to undercut the Marlins, and who needs him? People are, I think, more annoyed by
Well,
this guy
maybe he
anyway.
was the bad juju.
Yeah.
Maybe getting rid of him is what's going to turn it around.
Right.
I like it. Him and his stupid orange jersey. Get out of here.
Paid attendance dropped, though. They started at 12,000. They were at 10,428 yesterday. And those are the real numbers now.
Right.
Like, they're not giving you that fake inflated paper stat. 10,000. So Marlins attendance is going to be way down this year.
On a Sunday against the Cubs?
10,000.
Ouch.
Was the
Let's
paid
see
attendance
now.
yesterday.
If they continue to split and take series, you'll see that change.
Well, it's a vibe.
know?
I hope everybody else has the same kind of feel I do. If you're a true Marlins fan, I hope that you're coming off of the weekend saying, That was pretty awesome. I thought it was great. Like, I am more inclined to go to a Marlins game today than I was after that disaster on Thursday.
Well, because think about this. It's a 4-game set, right?
Yeah.
So when you looked at that on paper, knowing all the moves that had happened in the offseason, you said, man, if we win one of those games, I'll be, like, completely surprised. You came out 2-2.
Right.
That's a win.
It is a win.
I know that's what I was saying to start the week was, man, if they just win one game, great. Maybe we can get something. And you know what happens, too, is you mentioned these guys, Lewis Brinson and Dylan Peters and all these different names that we're going to start to learn.
Yeah.
We're going to start to learn the stories, too, and that will build interest for the fans as that human interest side starts to come in a little bit, especially for local guys.
So I did this Twitter poll on Kevin's other show on Friday, and I said, which franchise will win a championship first? Miami Marlins or the Dolphins, but the time cut out before the game on Friday night. And until we got to Friday night, 59% of the vote went for the Dolphins. 41% went for the Marlins. I wonder if I redid this poll today. Is that enough? Is that enough to switch it? Well, did you see something from the Marlins saying, hey, look, we're showing you what we're building for. We've got a lot more money to work with.
I base my opinion on the fact that I think the Marlins will do it first, simply on direction of club. I feel like with Jeter, he's actively trying to make them better. They're going to be making some moves. I mean, the Dolphins are last behind Cleveland in the power rankings right now.
Yeah, for ESPN.
I mean, come on.
It's the Marlins. I want to say I voted. I actually went on and voted Dolphins, but it's the Marlins.
I get it. We'll probably change by the end of the week, but. Another little stat I like, the Marlins are going to have over $6 million to spend on international free agents during the 2018-19 signing period. That's tied for the largest bonus pool in the MLB. So
very good.
There's some positives.
Yes.
There are some positives coming off this weekend, just to let you know about. Well, the fun thing, I hate to do this, but I can't wait to talk Yankees. Because as good as I feel about the Marlins, Leo feels that bad about the Yankees. Do they have problems hitting, pitching, and managing? We'll discuss coming up next.
Get Kevin's other show whenever the hell you want on YouTube and at 640thehurricane.com.
Well, after an opening weekend, talking about who you feel good about, who you don't feel good about, I'm riding high on what the Marlins did. Leo was the excited guy after Thursday. He's a big old Yankees homer. And, I mean, hey, how could you not feel good about seeing Stanton cranking 2, hitting a double? Everything looked fantastic. It was all beautiful. And then you take a look at what happens the rest of the weekend. And I think probably what was most painful was the loss yesterday. You come out even with the Blue Jays.
Yeah. And, again, as I said on Friday, with all the hype and all the happiness that happened with Stanton on his debut, I sat in here and I said, listen, I'm expecting Tanaka to give up 8 tonight. He didn't. He actually pitched a great game.
Yeah.
I sat in here and said that the bullpen is the strength of this team. Well, that got proven wrong over the weekend.
Yeah.
What's crazy is, again, and I asked you if you looked on paper what you would have been happy with before the series was played, and you said you would have been happy with one game of the Marlins winning one game.
Yeah.
Whenever the Yankees go to Toronto, they play horrible there. Bad things happen every time they're in Toronto. So even though I was excited about this team, before the series started, I was like, get out of there at 500. Get out of there winning 2.
So you consider that despite all the expectations? Because to me, I think the thing that works against the Yankees all year long is anything but complete dominance. And the New York media and the pessimism of the fan base going, oh, my gosh, what's going on? Where's Stanton's bat? Judge is like striking out like crazy. What's happened to the bullpen? Aaron Boone can't manage.
There's a couple things that happen for the Yankees when they're built like this, okay? Over the last couple of years, it hasn't been so much because they weren't expected to contend. When the Yankees have the target on their back like this, every team, it doesn't matter if they are in last place by 30 games, every team throughout the entire season plays the Yankees like it's their World Series. So there's a team that if the Yankees win 94, it's like any other team winning 115 because they really do face every single team going all in. You know when a team goes and lays up. You see it. You see it in the NFL. You see it in college. You see it in baseball. You'll see a series where a team has just gone, we have nothing to play for. We're just going to lay this up. If we win, we do, but no big deal. they get uber focused, they get uber hyped, and they go in on the Yankees every series.
Yeah.
So this one, look, it started off in Toronto. That's a divisional series. I was like, 2 games, I'll take it. And then I watched the series, and now I'm pissed that they didn't win 3.
They probably should have won 3.
Well, I'll give you a stat that tells you, when I give you the stat, you're going to be like, how are they not 4-0?
Yeah, I was
Okay?
actually looking forward to this. You teased us before
Yeah.
the show, so I want to hear what this is.
It's the thing that when I tell you this, you're going to say, okay, if you didn't know what their record was, you'd say, okay, Yanks are 4-0 easily. The Yankees did something they've never done in the history of the franchises, which is where, to start off the season, their first 4 pitchers gave up 1 earned run or less.
What?
Their first 4 starting pitchers gave up 1 earned run or less, and they are 2-2.
So it's your bullpen that
Yes.
gave up all the rest.
Well, the
Wow.
Dylan Betances mess that happened on Saturday, where he got through an inning by the grace of God, and then Boone thought, well, he got through 1, let's put him out there again. Fail.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, the debacle of, look, I know it's Robertson. I know the dude is Houdini, and he has an insane curveball and all that. But when you're sitting there with a 1-run lead, and you got Donaldson coming up, and Donaldson's hurt. You can say what you want. Yes, he's playing. Yes, he's suiting up. But the dude is still injured, and he's not the same player he normally is. Behind him is Smoke, who is on fire.
Right.
This
I
dude
love
is
that.
on fire.
Smoke is on fire,
Okay.
baby.
I love that we can say that.
So what are you going to do? You are going to walk Donaldson, and now you've forced it to where Robertson has no wiggle room. He's got to throw strikes because if he walks Smoke, that's the game tied right there. So he's got to throw the ball around the plate. He's throwing it against a guy who's batting left. And by the way, left is Smoke's power side. Instead of going righty to righty with an injured Donaldson, you put Donaldson on first, and you get it to a 3-2 count. He throws a couple curves, and Smoke is either fouling him off or laying off. And then what's he got to do? So finally, he's got to groove a fastball right down the middle. What did you think was going to happen? The dude hit it. It still hasn't landed.
Oh,
I
gosh.
mean, the dude hit it to dead center. It was off the bat, gone.
Yeah.
Grand slam, game over.
What's up with the offensive production? Where's Stanton's bat? Stanton, I mean,
Well-
starts off with 2 home runs and a double in game 1, and then I didn't hear anything about the rest of the series.
So here's another change that's happened since Stanton went with 2 home runs and a double. Sanchez has not hit behind him since then. Since then, Boone has messed around with the lineup and hasn't put Sanchez behind him, and Stanton has done nothing.
So how do you rate Boone's opening weekend as the new skipper in New York?
Listen-
Because, I mean, there's a couple questionable calls that likely cost him the series that he's already made.
I think, listen, here's the deal. You want to be like, okay, look, it's the first 4 games of the season. I don't want to get too crazy on the guy, but this team is built to win now. I don't got a year for you to learn. I don't, man. I need you to know right now. The whole reason why I thought Cashman hired this guy is because he thought he was game ready to manage now. You don't have time ever in New York to have a manager in training. That is not something that the fans are going to be like, cool, we'll give him a few years to figure it out.
Sure, yeah.
Not with this
Not
team.
this year, no.
No freaking way.
No.
So you better learn your bullpen. You better understand that Betances, if you get through 1 inning and he's through strikes, clap hands, pat him on the ass, and get him in the shower.
Yeah.
Don't run him out for the 2nd inning.
Yeah.
Now, you see, is that fair, though? I mean, I understand it's the Yankees, and this is the new super team of baseball and whatnot, but is it fair to say that Aaron Boone doesn't even have a game to learn his team and learn his strengths and weaknesses with bullpen and
That's the
lineup?
thing about New York. You don't get a lot of time, man.
No.
I mean, he needs a little time, right? I mean, give him a game or 2.
Listen, the guy's
no?
been around baseball his whole life. His
Right.
grandfather played in the pros. His dad played in the pros. His brother played in the pros. He played in the pros. He won Game 7 in 2003 against the Red Sox. Dude, you know baseball.
Yeah.
You just got to know your team a
Right.
little better. Okay, that's all. He's got to get in the nuances of what his team is capable of doing and where they shine the best.
Yeah.
And look, they call it midseason form for a reason. This was Game 4 of a 162-game season. How much work do the relievers get in spring training? Those guys aren't in midseason form until like August, September. I mean, like the bullpen is going to go through these moments. But I just felt like he put Robertson into a place where it was a very low percentage of being successable in that moment.
Okay.
It really put him in a spot.
Grade
you
your
know?
Yankees from over the weekend. What would you say overall team, A through F?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a C right now because,
That's fair.
listen, outside of Game 1 where Judge and Stanton both had some big hits. I mean, those two have just mellowed. Look, they were in the game on Saturday because Austin hit 2 home runs. They were winning the game yesterday because Drury cranked a big 2-run homer. You expect any team, look, no team is going to be built around just 2 guys. That's why it's a team sport. And they have some other guys that are professional, really solid players and hitters, but you do need 2 through 5 to be, they got to be active. They got to be doing something, man.
Yeah.
So, look, it's a snow out today. We'll see what happens. Give them a day to think about it and get back to it.
That's another thing as well. If you needed any kind of headline today as to why they need to shorten up the season and get the calendar right, you got a snow out in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Why are these guys playing it? It's baseball.
Right.
We're playing in snow. You start in snow and you end in snow.
Well, remember now, they used to call them the boys of summer, but yet they start in spring, and it's like they end in fall. So I'm with you. I would have no issue with them trimming 60 games off the schedule. Make it a 100-game season, call it a day. You'll get to the playoffs quicker. Things will matter.
Expand the playoffs, too. You can do more at the playoffs.
Seriously. I mean, right now.
Everything's a 7-game series instead of this, like, I can't keep track. Okay, is this a 5-game series? Which is a 7-game series? Make it all 7-game series that you go through, expand your playoffs, and shorten your season.
I mean, I do like the 1-game play-in because that does put some pressure on the lower-seeded teams, and it makes them have to earn their way in and get their pitching set up. And I do agree with that. But, look, the 100-game season would be amazing because what happens is the first month of the season, everyone's excited because it's the first month of the season.
Yeah.
Then when you get into, like, May and June, it just drops off. Like, it goes into the no man's land of baseball. Those 40 games, 50 games in that stretch are just like, who cares?
Well, and that's just it. I mean, we're excited and talking about it now because it's the end of it. But, I mean, we probably will not be this excited and spend this much time on baseball until September.
Right.
So here you go.
Right.
Get it all in today because after today, we're pretty much
Maybe trade deadline right after the All-Star game because those are teams that are like looking to build and get ready for the postseason, but that's about it.
It's going to be those 2 days.
Baseball, yeah.
But tomorrow is April 3rd, and we probably won't talk about baseball again for 3 months.
Man. Seriously.
It's one of my favorite clips from over the weekend. Bryce Harper had a monstrous day yesterday in Cincinnati.
So right after someone was screaming overrated.
This is so classic. If you haven't heard this, listen real close right here for overrated, and then Hyper goes yard.
Bryce Harper, high in the air.
Well,
did you hear it?
There it overrated. And then
Bryce Harper, high in the air, deep center.
So classic.
Yeah. SWAT. Yeah. There you go. Bryce Harper yesterday. Coming up in a couple minutes, got to talk about what is going on, drama with the Heat. Even though, I mean, they did have a little bit of problem with the Nets on Saturday night. They might have bigger problem with Hassan Whiteside. And what do they do with it? It's about time to send him packing. Is that the right call? We'll discuss coming up next.
Be part of the show on Twitter at 640 The Hurricane, hashtag Kevin's Other Show.
Well, coming out of the weekend, you see some problems. Oddly enough, coming out of the weekend, I feel most positive about the Marlins.
How did that happen?
Yes. The Panthers, oh, man. Ricky Bobby's the hockey guy around here, so I don't want to steal too much of his thunder, but I don't think he's going to have a lot to talk about when he gets back tomorrow. The Panthers suffered a third consecutive defeat, 5-1. They go down to Boston. And I think they still got to play him 2 more times.
That was one of 2, so they have him again. I believe it's the last game of the season next Sunday.
Do they not have him 2 more times?
I think that was the first of the 2. I could be wrong. I'm 99% sure I'm wrong.
Okay.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure because I thought I saw just the other day. I was looking at that. I'm like going, oh crap, they've got
really 2 more times this week.
I think so. I mean, that was the thing that was the positive and the negative with their schedule is that, yeah, it looked fantastic and that you had all these games to make up some ground. Yeah, they got the Bruins on Thursday at home, and then Coming up on Sunday, you got him in Boston.
Oh my gosh. So they have him Thursday at home and then Sunday in Boston.
Yeah, so you lost the first of 3, and now you got 2 more times against him.
So what's it look like? What's it going to take for these guys? Are they even capable of getting into?
It's real slim. Last I'd heard, and that was before they lost again. They were at a 40% chance to make the playoffs. They entered Sunday 5 points behind New Jersey for the final playoff spot. And so they've just had some issues. The goalie play has been inconsistent. Barkov's production's been down, so power play goals not great.
So I saw an update. It's not very encouraging for Panther fans. They now have a 6% chance of making the playoffs.
6%?
6% chance, and they're 7 points behind New Jersey now.
Okay, so we can write that off.
And you have 2 games against Boston.
That was fun.
Whoops.
Yeah, we'll just pack that up till next year.
So next Sunday will be the Florida Panthers' last game of the season.
Heat Nets on Saturday. The Heat still just got that elusive game. They're trying to clinch the playoff. Yeah.
So annoying. What are they doing? They're playing the Nets, who have like 7 wins this season, and they come back. They force it into overtime. Wade gets fouled at the end. They don't call it, and they lose by a point.
Well, I mean, for Nets fans, you got to be encouraged because, I mean, they played like crazy, man. They were scrapping. They were blocking. They were attacking. They were doing everything you want to see.
I don't get why.
That's not a team that packed. Well, I mean, maybe they're playing for contracts.
Come on.
I mean, well, I'm looking at the standings. They've got? They're 4 games up.
Yeah, no,
right?
I mean, it's a matter of time.
Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to make the
in.
playoffs. I mean,
yeah.
it's just, it's not
just
what you want.
Where they fall and kind of where they land. Yeah, and it's just a bad loss going into the playoffs. You don't want to lose to a team like that at home.
And you'd rather them get that 7th seed. And listen, if they were able to get a couple more wins and maybe Washington loses, well, they could actually get all the way up to the 6th seed.
Right.
And that's when you're going 6-3. Of course, that's Cleveland, so that kind of sucks. But it's like you get into that groove where look, the matchup could get a little better for you if you can just put a few wins together right here.
I think probably one of the biggest things going on for the Heat that they've just got to figure out is what you're going to do with Whiteside. And hey, if I'm Spoelstra, I stay the course. I stay with what you're doing. Their offensive production is like the best that it's ever been. They're coming off of like their best scoring month ever in the history of the franchise. And it's all because they're going with a smaller, faster lineup, and they're putting up more points. Hassan Whiteside, and we knew this. Getting in, we were talking about, he's going to slow him up. It's a different brand of basketball, and his minutes are beginning chopped. Not even just like this last month, but last year his, minutes were down from when he had that great year 2 years ago when he got the big contract.
Right.
And they're putting up the points. And Spoelstra thinks that they had a better chance to win. I mean, they lost, by 1 point in overtime. And you had that questionable call with D. Wade. Should that have been a foul or not?
Kevin.
He asked his wife.
I mean, usually the veteran gets that call. Let me just say that.
At home, nonetheless.
Right. I mean, come on now.
Gosh, I just – and if you're not following Gabrielle Union on Twitter, you got to.
I love
because she is so mouthy and entertaining. She's fantastic. She used to be like on the front row, and she would heckle D. Wade so much and yell so much during the games and distracted him so much. He had to move her back to like the 4th or 5th row. I mean, she is working her way into the upper bleachers.
That's hilarious.
At this point.
He's going to be with the other fans just screaming obscenities at him.
And if you can't hear her courtside, you're going to hear her on Twitter because she's going to go right to it and start blasting the refs. Yeah, she was not happy after they didn't call that foul on D. Wade, and she wrote, "That's period, damn foul. WTF."
Did you imagine?
She said, so I guess you can age out of getting foul calls. What's the cutoff age? I'm just asking for a friend.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gabrielle Union pulling no punches. I love
Pulling no
it.
punches.
Man.
Now, the NBA, they do this 2-minute report where they kind of review all the different calls and all that kind of stuff. They said in the Heat-Nets game, 4 incorrect calls. Actually, 3 of them should have gone for Brooklyn. So they came out on the shorter end of that. And then the one extra one, kind of could have gone for the Heat. And they said on D. Wade's final shot that it was a correct non-call. So when they looked at it, they said that the refs made the right call, not calling anything.
So they got it wrong twice, is what you're saying. Okay, just want to make sure.
If you're asking Gabrielle Union, yeah. The bigger problem is with Whiteside, who after the game went off even more than Gabrielle Union.
This is not good, man.
With him getting yanked, and he was yanked, in the third with about 20 minutes on Saturday, and they didn't put him back in. 3:55 remaining in the third quarter. He never came back in.
Never came back in a close game in overtime, nothing.
Well, Spoelstra's saying that he doesn't think his conditioning's where it needs to be. He doesn't think he can keep up. He wanted to go with the smaller lineup.
Yeah.
You know, and he said, look, you're not ready for these kind of minutes, and you're not the strategy we want to do. You slow us down.
Well, and that was what we were talking about last week, was right now the offense is in a groove because you got the youngins out there, and they're running. Right, so when you you wanted to get this guy out there when you're looking to slow the game down and make the other team kind of get off their flow a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's got to be a team player and understand that a little bit.
So he goes off and he says it's BS, and he used the whole word. It's really BS, man. There's a lot of teams that could use a center. Bleep, that's bull bleep.
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
That pretty much summed it all up. And the Heat weren't happy with his comments. He got a fine, no question on exactly how much, but it was enough.
They haven't said, and I also read that the PR guy for the Heat in the locker room when that interview was taking place ended the interview mid-sentence. He said, okay, guys, we're done here. Well, they ended it after they asked Whiteside, one of the reporters asked Whiteside, are you now questioning your future with the Heat? He said, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
And now mysteriously, we searched high and low, okay, Kevin
Can't
and I.
find that clip?
We cannot find it anywhere. It lives nowhere on the internet.
Well, what do you do with Whiteside? I mean, hopefully he's going to shut up now because of the fine and everything, but what do you do with this guy postseason and into next year? He's still got a massive contract, about 2 years, I think, left on the deal at least?
Yeah, there's still a few years on there. $98 million.
But do you try to bail that out on somebody else? If he is what he's saying, somebody else wants a center, do the Heat look to rethink the team and what they got? I mean, you picked up Bam, and Bam is solid. Can Bam not pretty much fill the role that you thought Whiteside was going to be needed for? And, dude, the athleticism on Bam, did you see that dunk that he had the other night?
He's such a freak.
Sick, dude.
His wingspan is ridiculous. He's got to be in the dunk contest next year.
I mean, would you rather have that in there than Whiteside?
Well, it sounds like Whiteside's got some feelings.
He does.
He's realizing that there's somebody else in there that's running it a little bit better than he is. So he's gonna get a little lippy because he's feeling some kind of way about it.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to this. Do you want to win or not?
Yeah.
And that's the conversation that those guys need to have.
Well, that's always been his biggest issue is immaturity.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a good talent, but there's a reason why he was never really signed officially with the team until he was about 28. He was always trying to work his way back in. That's why the Kings got rid of him when he was first in the league.
Yeah.
It's always been an issue with him, and it might come back to bite him this time.
How many players has Pat Riley had that was a problem with their mouth? Does Pat Riley ever have players that are mouthy?
Not really. I mean, he's usually one of those guys that's been able to kind of get people to buy into the system.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had enough championships to prove that he knows what he's doing.
I can't think of the last time the Heat had a loose cannon or Pat Riley had somebody that was running loose with the mouth and stayed around.
Right.
Yeah. Goodbye.
No, Hassan, what are you doing?
Goodbye. So Lane Kiffin tweeted out he's heading to a Power 5 program. What exactly is going on there? I'll give you the details next.
Yep, he's here too. It's Kevin's Other Show, right here on 640 The Hurricane.
Barstool, FAU. Saw it yesterday. Boy, really kind of wrecked my Sunday. I'm having a nice little Easter Sunday. It's all good. And then I see the story. Lane Kiffin thanking FAU for the time and said going to be at a Power 5 program. The press conference forthcoming. I was like, I never believed that he was going to live out the 10 years of that contract. I said, I'd be lucky if you have him for another year. But I didn't see something coming this time of the season that Lane Kiffin would be taken off. But then I started to think, today's Easter. What else is today?
Little April Fools.
Yeah, it said Lane Kiffin leaves FAU for Power 5 school. Details on the way. Breaking news. Kiffin on the move. Well, guess what? He then tweeted out a little bit later. Pretty much, it was an April Fool's joke. It
Lane.
says, it's April Fools.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Mr. T.
Yeah, of
He
course.
put up a picture of Mr. T.
It's April Fools.
There were several of those running around yesterday. They had the Odell Beckham Jr. going in a swap with Des Bryant in Dallas.
Dallas.
That was another big one that was going on yesterday. So.
Yeah. Everybody kind of had all that kind
Oh
of stuff
my
going on.
gosh, guys! This is a major college football coach. He's coaching the NFL, and he's sending out tweets that he's leaving the school, and then sending out a Mr. T meme. Like,
But this is what he does.
I love it.
I mean, this is what he does. This is what people who love or hate about Kiffin. So,
Right.
love or hate. I don't know.
No, I think it's great. I mean, it's so
do
different.
too. If you like everything the Lane Train's all about, you're like, okay, this is good. And even though I thought I had a heart attack for a while, then yeah. After a while, I'm like, okay. it's
My
all
question to you guys: he had to clear this with like the athletic director,
No.
president. Nobody?
No.
You don't think he
good.
said
I
a
don't
word?
think so. No.
He does what he wants.
Could you imagine though?
That's what happens when you're 11-3.
Yeah,
Right?
I
Yeah.
know.
Do what you want.
I don't think Lane's going to take the time. I think he's just like, what are you going to do? He's like, what are you going to do?
He
Right.
knows. Sitting on his
Yeah.
couch
He
and sends
knows
out this tweet.
Does
Yeah.
whatever he wants to do in
That's it.
Boca. He's like, what are you guys going to do to me?
Right.
Are you really going? Whoa, what are you going to do? Yeah, if you want to check out the Lane Train, I want to give them a couple of plugs coming up on Saturday. They're going to be at Fort Lauderdale's Carter Park. They are going to be doing a practice there that you can come and check out. And what's even cooler about it is they're going to be holding a youth camp from 1:15 to 2:15 for students in kindergarten through 8th grade. So if you want to go out there and all the assistants for FAU, arguably, who knows, one of the hottest bright spots. Offensive coordinator is going to be out there. Charlie Weiss's kid is going to be working that as well. So you can go check that out. And the practice is also going to serve as a benefit for Stoneman Douglas.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So that's going to be this Saturday if you want to go support the Lane Train, everything he's got going on. I thought maybe this might have been an April Fool's joke, but unfortunately it dropped on Friday. Lamar Jackson from Boynton Beach High. Did you see his Wonderlic score?
No.
It's not good.
Oh, no.
13.
Oh, God.
That's not a good number.
No, it's not a good number, but let me give you the comparisons if you don't know exactly the sliding scale on it. Aaron Rodgers, 35, Tom Brady, 33, Lamar Jackson, 13.
I think the top score is a 50. Am I right about that?
It might be. I didn't see anything higher than Aaron Rodgers because what I was looking at was what the last 5 Super Bowl QBs have done. They have an average of 30. Now that's on the QBs. Now, some other people, and thank you, by the way, for everybody following us on Twitter at Kevin's Other Show. Give me some good info. Running quarterbacks typically do worse on the Wonderlic, and this is basically your, NFL IQ is what you're looking at. In fact, maybe a positive here is Deshaun Watson had a 20, Cam
Okay.
Newton had a 21.
Right.
So you're talking about two guys that have,
Pretty good.
yeah, they've done well and they have really promising NFL careers. Lamar Jackson, how, damning is a 13? Does that affect his draft status? Does it affect his status as being taken as a quarterback? Because look at some of the other positions, they might let it slide if you're talking about a slot receiver or somebody, that is in that position. Quarterback, the guy who you want making the great decisions, using the mind, pulling the trigger. Do you want a guy 13 taking your snaps?
Well, especially when you look at the scores of the other QBs that are coming up in the draft. Did you see
What do
those?
you got? No, what do you got? Let's hear it.
All right, so Baker Mayfield, 25.
That's our guy. Let's
Okay.
go.
All right.
Sam Darnold, 28.
Wow.
Okay.
Rosen, 29.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen, what was Aaron Rodgers?
35, I think you said?
35, yeah.
Josh Allen, 37.
Whoa. Smarter
I'm
than Aaron
telling
Rodgers.
I really think that's
So
the
when
guy
you
to go with.
look
Yeah.
at that, so
Yeah.
if you're sitting there and you're like, okay, we're on the fence between, say, a Josh Allen, and I hate to play both sides of the thing here, but if it's Josh Allen and Lamar,
Yeah.
not
you're
a good
looking
look.
at that and you're like, look, if it was like 30 to 28, maybe we'd have a decision here, but it's like 37 to 13.
Not a good look.
Well, and I think the
No.
question, you don't question his athleticism, but yeah, I mean, decision making is such a big deal, and especially when
Yes.
you're talking about first round. I mean, Mel Kiper was trying to squeeze Lamar Jackson in at like as high as like the 15th pick.
Yeah.
I think if anything, this Wonderlic is like, all right, people are going to be like, okay, yeah, we can't deny the athleticism. The guy can find his way around when he's on a college field.
Right.
But what are we going to use this guy as? And if you think he's going to be your number one signal caller in the future, you may be like, I don't know. You're going to definitely feel a lot better about
And
Josh Allen.
apparently his mom and him can't find their way around a calendar because they don't know how to schedule meetings and get back to people.
Yeah.
on
You
things.
can't have
So-
your mom as your agent. Just stop doing that.
So maybe they ought to figure that one out first.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to know is, and I've kind of always wondered this with this test, that how much does it really matter, though? We need to get this test and see what it's like.
I agree. Well, I think that's the best question. Does the Wonderlic matter? And I think the only thing that matters is, do the people at the franchises drafting these players think it matters?
That's the thing.
That's a big question.
But you look at the numbers, and they're saying past success shows that there is a correlation between
Yeah.
the Wonderlic score.
I'd love to see that same test administered in this building.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
I mean, I think We'd be pulling sevens, and I don't know.
Can we please
There's been
do
some
that?
bad decisions going on around here. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
I would not do well on this test.
When Kevin asked me to be on the show, that's right there. That puts him at about a 9.
Right there.
Well, let's not forget, we haven't really spent any time on it, but what are we going to say about tonight's NCAA Tournament Championship that you haven't heard
that's tonight.
somewhere else? Yeah, that's going on. So, got Michigan and Villanova. Michigan has only won the tournament once back in 1989. Villanova in 2 out of the last 3 years.
was gonna say, it's a couple
for
years
their
ago.
third, yeah.
That defense, though. Michigan. I mean, I'm telling you.
Wagner, watch out for
Yeah.
the big German. Wagner.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be a good game, though.
What's everybody's pick?
I had in my sheet, I had Michigan.
Okay.
Honestly, and I had these 2 in the final, which is great.
Nicely done.
But I do have Michigan winning this.
Okay. All right.
We'll see.
Diener?
You know what? Strange feeling. I'm going Michigan here. Villanova should win. They have the better team.
Yeah.
I just feel like Michigan's hot right now. They're going to get it done.
Okay. I got a kid at Michigan.
I know,
can't
you
wait-
weren't all close.
Can't say anything else.
Right.
You know, it's definitely got to be that. So, hey, got a really awesome concert that is going to be coming up, and we want to send you VIP style. Ozzy, probably my all-time favorite. Going to be coming to the Fort Rock Festival along with Godsmack, Stone Temple Pilots, Five Finger Death Punch, Stone Sour Shinedown. That's going to be at Markham Park, April 28th and the 29th. Your VIP includes VIP entrance, lounge, viewing area, and restrooms, which is the biggest thing, because you ever been to a hair metal show, you don't want to use that toilet.
No.
I'm telling you from experience, you don't want to be in that toilet next to long-haired Bob.
Yeah, especially long-haired Bob.
It's the
You don't wanna be
worst
next to that
thing
guy.
ever. Get this just for the VIP restrooms. If you want them, go to our website to sign up, 640thehurricane.com. Check out this show on demand anywhere. YouTube's got it. You've got it on podcasting as well. And, of course, always here, 640 The Hurricane.
You listened to him on the KVJ show for years. Every time he tried to talk sports, he'd get shut down. After years of begging, we finally gave in. Brought to you by Wellington Anti-Aging. Low T? Go to wellingtonantiaging.com. And by Bremen Motor Cars in West Palm Beach. A world-class experience. Shop BremenPorsche.com now. It's Kevin's Other Show on 640 The Hurricane.